Okay, so let's now we talked, about Frank Reich and obviously a little bit about the Colts. Let's talk about the Colts' new head coach named this week. And I thought I heard somebody pronounce it. Obviously, seriously, Steichen. I can't Steichen. You think with my heritage I'd be able to do that? So, what do you think? I know you like this guy.
I like this guy a lot. I honestly didn't know a whole lot about him until he started getting mentioned as a Colts coach. And I started looking into him and what he's done. And it's not like he has a huge, long track record. Like, this is a young guy. But coming in, he's worked with Phillip Rivers. He's worked with Justin Herbert, helped Justin Herbert have the best rookie season by a quarterback in NFL history. And then he went on and made turned Jalen Hurts into a guy that people were saying wasn't going to be a quarterback in this league, and he was in the MVP conversation. And for people that have any questions about whether he calls plays or not, or is Sirianni calling the plays, Sirianni, when he got the job in Philadelphia, called plays for about 5 games. And when it wasn't working, he gave Shane Steichen that responsibility. And that's when you started seeing the development of Jalen Hurts. So that's what I think is promising is the fact that he's been able to take a young quarterback, a mobile quarterback, and mold him into his system. That's one thing Shane Steichen said in his introductory press conference that I loved, was that it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, whether it's Rivers or Herbert or Jalen Hurts, he's going to mold that system around him. And we've seen him have success with Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts respectively. So I'm all for this. He's going to be calling plays in Indy. Jim Bob Cooter, just like 2 hours before we started recording this, it was reported that Jim Bob Cooter is going to be the Colts offensive coordinator. So he's going to be working hand in hand with Shane Steichen. He was just in Jacksonville with Doug Peterson, working with him, and we saw what they were able to do from an offense standpoint. So I really like that. And Shane Steichen said that it's not confirmed yet, but pretty much it was Shane Steichen was getting this job because he has the plan to retain the defensive staff and the special teams coach, Bubba Ventrone, who is maybe the best special teams coach in the entire league. And I believe Bubba Ventrone is going to be the assistant head coach. Don't hold me to that, but I believe that's what I heard was going to be happening. So everything that's happening right now around Shane Steichen, I enjoy, but we just have to see what he does. Putting the rest of the staff together is really all we're looking for right now.
Well, and let's talk about him retaining the defensive staff. That is really smart because of the consistency. You're not upending the entire system, which a lot of coaches do. They just upend and they change everything. Well, when you change everything, no matter every time you change something, you have to work the bugs out. And when you change everything, you have to work the bugs out, and there's chances that things can go wrong and not go the way you want. So I think from a consistency standpoint, to retain them and then slowly tweak those things, replace people as they need replaced, whatever the case may be, and focus on this offense is smart. I mean, the defense held their own all year long, and the offense has the firepower to be explosive immediately. This could be a quick turnaround. Now, anybody's watching what we're talking about, my biggest fear has been the last couple of months with the firing of Reich and this whole Jeff Saturday thing, and bringing in a coach. My whole thing was a rebuild. I was terrified of a rebuild because things had unraveled to the point where it was looking like it was going to be a complete rebuild. This situation just pops out of nowhere. This guy just shows up. I mean, they did like 20 some third interviews, and then all of a sudden Super Bowl weekend, we're like, no, we're not going to hire any of these guys. And boom, Monday, Tuesday, I think is when they announced it. We talked about it. We talked about Monday that he's probably going to hire him. So this guy has the potential to fix this right now and contend for this division next year. Again, I'm not making predictions. He could come in and be shit, and they could be at the bottom of the barrel, and we're having this discussion again next year. But the way it looks, I guess a friend of mine told me today, and I haven't corroborated this, but that one of the things they did was they put Shane through Coach Steichen. They put him through game simulations and had him make decisions. And they evaluated his decisions, I guess, on the performance or however that worked. Smart. I didn't know they were doing that. I don't know why I didn't know they were doing that. That's smart. Anyway, we're watching. This could the Colts could be contenders immediately because they've got the personnel to do it. We've been talking about that for 3 years. This could be Chucky coming in and taking over and winning a Super Bowl. I mean, he could roll right in here and tweak a few things, and boom, you got a Super Bowl team on your hands. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen.
Really excited. And like you said, there's plenty of talent on this team. I'm sure there's going to be some retooling this offseason, some tweaking that needs to be done. Guys that Shane's going to want there for his offense and that kind of thing. They got to fix the offensive line. But, watching the introductory press conference, there was one thing that Shane Steichen said that had me all in immediately. He said, well, we're going to pass to score points in this league, and we're going to run the ball to win. I was immediately in love. Like you obviously they have to get a quarterback. That's business number one for Shane and Chris Ballard this offseason, getting a quarterback in the draft or free agency, hopefully the draft. But assuming he gets the guy that he wants, and again, he's able to mold these systems around the quarterback and everybody on the team and what everybody does well. So I have a lot of faith that he's going to be able to get the job done. And I have a lot of faith that he's going to bring the right guys in around him and surround him. And you talked about, guys quitting on team and losing the locker room and that whole thing. I think getting a guy like Darius Leonard back in the building is going to be huge. I understand he plays defense, but that's going to be huge for the entire team. And the energy that Shane brings from everything I've heard, this is like a super genius level guy, which is why he's getting these opportunities so young. It's like he's very, very intelligent from a football standpoint, and he brings the energy. Players that he had, A.J. Brown spoke glowingly about the kind of energy he brings. Jalen Hurts did the same thing. So everything that he brings to the table, I'm loving what I'm seeing. And as a Colts fan, I'm very excited with him as my head coach.
Yeah, well, I was going to bring up the energy, but you beat me to it. I've heard the same thing, and he reminds me of Mike McDaniels, that kind of football IQ, which is very Jim Caldwell-ish, very Norv Turner-ish. Two of the most brilliant offensive minds in the history of the game. Not very good head coaches, which scares me a little bit from that standpoint. But Mike McDaniels is doing a great job in Miami so far. So let's hope that Shane Steichen can do the same thing here in Indianapolis.